Good evening. It's 6:46 p.m. It is February 4th, Sunday evening, and I decided to come on here and make another video. I did one earlier today. Today was not a good day. It was kind of a waste. I just kind of stayed in my room, which I stay in my room a lot, but today was like really a weird day. Like I basically stayed in bed all day and only went downstairs if I needed food and it came right back upstairs. You know what I mean? Went and did just as much as I had to. Like I had to wash the dishes and stuff like that, and then came right back upstairs. I'm just not, I've mentioned before how I feel about this issue of, the, you know, the perps and the setups and, not having any sincerity in my life. Now, I don't know. Um, I've always, I guess I am one of those people that maybe have felt because I've dealt with abuse so much from not just my family, but obviously this is a past life thing. Whereas I must have been abused a lot, especially somebody who was a foreigner coming into a country. And apparently from what I understood, it was very difficult for him to have like a stability, other than like probably the boarding schools that he had. And I know that there was a person taking care of him at the time who was, of course, an enemy of his father, right? So this kid probably didn't have the best of life. Probably dealing with people who always had their own agenda for him being around, and much like this life, I feel as though this is like, some sort of repeat, mainly because it does have the same connections when you go back in history. To me, it's an unbearable situation when you feel like you're never going to meet any sincere people. You know, um, I left the 9 to 5 world, um, and with the hopes of just, taking off with Patreon and just getting on with my life. And because I needed to leave that sort of chaos behind. It was entirely too much for me. This is even before I understood that there was like this Prince Alamehu thing going on. It was just like targeting, 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 um, bullying. Me becoming very tense, nervous, hating going to work the very next day, dreading meetings, dreading any interaction more than I had to. I mean, it was just like a nightmare. It's been a nightmare for a very long time. Okay. Which is, I need to be able to have my life, and feel, um, and be around the sort of things that I need to be around. Now, I know that I had a YouTube channel back in, I keep thinking 2008, okay? I don't know why 2008. It's probably because I bought my first digital camera in that year, and I was making videos with that. And when I was making these videos, it was under the name of Dark Desert Moon. That was my first channel, and I was doing really well on it. I enjoyed that community, talking to people who were also interested in things relating to the occult. And once again, I think it's really important that I do reiterate that there was never any talk about comparing my religious beliefs to Christians. I never talked about anything bad about Christianity or anything like that. It was just, this is my way of connecting with other people who had a similar interest. Then I've dealt with a lot of infiltration and that sort of stuff, which, the workplace bullying just got ridiculous. And it started intensifying, the bullying started intensifying online as well. Um, and, slowly but surely, I just ended up walking away from that channel. I think I left that channel in like 2011 or somewhere around there. Um, you know, um, Having this image of Prince Alamehu, okay, and then also, I believe, like, this is when the celebrity Soul Tribe came in the picture. They came in the picture somewhere. I'm thinking probably, my mind tells me somewhere around 2013 they must have, okay. But at the time I was not aware of that. I was just knowing that there was issues going on with my workplace. Initially I thought that it was just the girl who was working at the farmer's place who was causing all the problems, okay. Then I started thinking more and more and starting seeing a pattern. I realized that my adopted family had something to do with this. I honestly thought that the biggest group of people who were involved in this were just my family and like the people that I went to school with, old people in the neighborhood, whatever, and of course employers, right? And because I thought they were using Facebook, you know, you put something on Facebook, anybody can see it, and I figured there were like, you know, private groups about that. But still, I thought the originator of this nightmare was starting off at the family. And then, of course, as time moved on, I realized how big this whole thing was. Okay, and you know, I've dealt with people coming into my life for the sole purpose of their mission is like to take me down. Their mission is to try to find contradictions in my beliefs, try to bully me. First of all, I'm in this situation, this life situation, mainly because of, you know, the fact that I was a clone, okay? And then the whole idea of having a fake family, dealing with the abuse before I knew that that's what they were. And then now that I knew that I was trying to be, my blood relations were trying to exploit me in some way. By experiment or whatever, their own sick towards personal pleasure. I'm not interested in, you know, competing against anyone. But you know, I have rightfully developed a distrust in people, just because of the mind control that I've seen, what comes over people and the understanding the nature of what people are, and I'm not comfortable with it. And I must have had these high standards, like I said, based on experiences of dealing with people with similar behavior in my past life, and then also, you know, just being ancient, you know, coming from this Egyptian line, and then probably living multiple lives before even Prince Alamehu, you know. Um, but everybody knew before I even realized that I had this reincarnation connection. People always knew that I was really good at being able to determine what people were like. Once I start talking to them, starting to know them, and I start tapping into them, then I read them pretty goddamn good. And the sad part is that I am tired of reading into people, because when I start reading into people, what I end up getting is extremely disappointed in them, and it becomes a pattern where you continually run into, you know, individuals that are somehow a part of something that you're not comfortable with, and something that you really does disturb you. You know what I mean? That's the problem. And then I'm not trying to make people, you know, have people make alliances and trying to draw lines or, you know, create this sort of confusion. But I get tired of being in the middle. What I wanted more than anything when I left the farmer's place is I just wanted to start over. Like, I wanted to start over again. Like, what happened over the farmer's place was just bullshit, like extreme bullshit. And you know, I deserved compensation from the first time, okay? And actually, the first time was actually when I was working over in Chatsworth, um, driving, you know, on the freeway. There's no way in the world I could do something like that now. Commuting every day on a freeway, and it took like about an hour and 45 minutes to get to work, and then come back. It was exhausting. And then when it rained, I was really screwed, right? But the harassment was there as well. Okay, and there have been at other workplaces, but it never escalated to that point. From leaving the place in Chatsworth, then going to Murray Family Farms. I'm just gonna say it, whatever, I don't care. And then from every job from that time, it just got deeper and deeper and weirder and weirder. And you know, I'm not comfortable with it. I think what these parents were observing was the fact that, you know, I'm grown into who I am, okay, and these are my beliefs, and these are the way that I see things, and a lot of it is based on, like I said, my experience, and I've always wanted to get away from my abusers, whoever they were, wherever it originated, from the original like pyramid top dude, or like my family, and or a combination of both. Okay, and the thing is that this group, my soul tribe, is comprised of several people. It's comprised of, you know, celebrities, of course, celebrities who probably heard things about me, or, you know, don't really know me directly, but know me through these big, huge name people that were a part of my life. And you know, the thing is that I want, I understand interaction is important. You have to interact with people, okay? But I really don't want to deal with, you know, betrayal of any kind. or any sort of like, bullying, fakery, expectations on me. I don't want. I wish so much that this sort of issue never happened. Like it just did not exist. You know what I mean? It's like I literally feel like I'm caught into something or I was associated with something. I wouldn't want to be a part of that. And like I said, it's cool that, people have reached out and talked to me and stuff, but at the same time, it's like, I understand this is a huge issue. This issue here is an issue that has disturbed me and it will disturb me for the rest of my life. Because it's like, I don't want to see the true faces of people. I don't like having to meditate and see is this person, working in my best interest, or these people are just like playing with me. I don't deserve to be played with. Okay, I have a life just like everyone else, and I have my ideas and my dreams and my visions and whatever. And no, I wouldn't be interested in hanging out and being close buddies with somebody who abuses me. I can't, you know what I mean? But I do respect people for who they are. Um, when something gets to me, like I have to say it. I have to be outright before the point gets to the point where there's just so much resentment and so much, whatever. But these people in my life are nothing but insincere people. These people that were in my life are nothing but, opportunists, people who had no problem exploiting me, people who, and then I don't want any more extensions of that. I don't want any more extensions of that. And I mean, that should be understood, but the thing is, people don't understand ethics. Like, they think that doing certain things to me is like it's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. It just isn't. You know what I mean? They wouldn't like this done to them, but they think it's okay to do to somebody else. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah, I am, somebody who who understands, like, what sincerity is and the importance of it. Because, in a world where, people are just literally like frothing at the mouth, practically drooling to sit here and deceive somebody, play somebody, trick somebody, just because people in positions of power, okay, and I'm not saying everybody, but there are some people who are in positions of power who look down on other people who are not in the same position. And they literally use them like pawns on a fucking chessboard. Okay? And in this case, I feel as though that's what's happened to me, and I get tired of it. That's what happens to a lot of people, especially in the working world. Okay? But obviously, I would say that my issue is a little over the top. You know? I mean, I resent it every fucking day. I resent the whole goddamn thing. You know? I, I dealt with so many, like, psychopaths, sociopaths, narcissists, people who just, mind controlled people for the longest time. You know what I mean? And I knew all along I was right in my way of thinking. I believe very strongly in my vision. I believe very strongly in my philosophies in life. And, I see that, in my life, I don't do things just for, like, because I want to be different. I don't do things just because I'm, like, trying to be rebellious or trying to, like, be jagged edge and just kind of like, this is what some people think. Okay, it is not. Okay, I don't want to be in relationships or friendships or whatever with people who are bringing that sort of negativity that I hate more than anything into my house. I resent that energy so much. Okay, that's why when I found out that my family was involved in my work life, it was like it just all went to shit for me. It went to shit for me. I don't like the interaction. Like, people grow up, they want to be their own selves, they want to live their own lives, they have their own ideas or whatever. Maybe they don't understand how I feel about this issue, and I don't care because I outgrew the adoptive family a long time ago. Okay, I understand what goes on with the blood relation issue. I'm not comfortable with it at all. You know what I mean? I'm not comfortable with, somebody who just fucking decided to, like, leave me or abandon me basically, and then come up like many years later and thinks that I'm supposed to bow down and expect to do something for some. I know it doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? I don't owe you shit. You know what I mean? And I don't owe my family anything. I'm tired of dealing with the same little network of people and the influence that they bring. You know what I mean? I don't believe in the way that my sister Tanya lived. And it's not so much that, I do things because I'm trying to, like I said, rebel. It's just that I've been an observer of people all my life. I started my videos back in 2015, and I started going through the entire scenario of like everything I remembered or whatever. But I remember several times growing up that everybody always knew that I am a good, I understand people and how they behave and stuff like that. Um, I've been like really unhappy for the longest time because, I make my decisions based on observing things, and I've seen like certain mistakes that people have made in their life, and seen it repeatedly, repeated mistakes, not just from them but from other people, and then I'll read about it and everything, and I can think, okay, I'm picking this issue apart. I analyze everything. And I know these people think, well, Maria's always full of jokes. She's always laughing. She's always whatever. I understand there's certain things that people do that they shouldn't be doing. Even though it's common, even though it's popular, even though everybody in their family has ever done it, it's something that I think humanity should stop. Okay, I'm not in charge of humanity. So what I do is I don't want to do that. That's not what I need to do. I make that decision based on my observation. It's my own little science experiment that I conducted throughout my entire life. So it's not like I just make up, things willy nilly or just to sound cool or whatever. I literally understand that I am in a world of people who don't mind abusing people. They don't mind taking advantage of a woman who basically is all by herself. And you might think, oh, that's not true. She's got her soul tribe and whatever. But my soul tribe is also connected to people who have abused me. Okay? This is reality. Okay, and I understand. I mean, it is what it is. People I meet, they know me because of this some sort of indirect meetup or whatever. How sad for me. How sad for me. Because I will never have a true friend. I am never going to have that in my life. I'm always going to have to deal with keeping my eye open. Always having to sit back and like mind tap. You know what I mean? And I don't want to live like that. You know what I mean? Nobody should have to live like that. It's no good. It's no good at all. You know. Anyway, so I was thinking about that. Like I talked about what I view as sacred and that sort of stuff. To me, my word is sacred. My word is sacred. Meaning, like I when I care about somebody, I can be sincere. I can be protective. Meaning like I'm going to shut out what hurts them. I'm not going to be the person who allows that shit to happen to another person. You know what I mean? I understand, how to give and how to care and how to be a true friend and that sort of stuff. And I'm in a world that doesn't. Okay? I go through this whole issue all the time about, the pros and cons of cloning, and I think it's very difficult for you to bring in somebody who has these gifts, these skills, these ways of living, this way of seeing things, okay, in a world that is completely opposite of what, you know, I am. It is completely opposite of what I am. Meaning is like, they people really strive for like this cutthroat thing. They have cutthroat relationships. Their marriages are cutthroat. Their friends are cutthroat. It's like everybody is just like, to me, vicious and sick, morally twisted, and if they're not, they can easily be manipulated to be. It's like I seriously do have a very pure mindset. I have extreme pure mindset. And I find living in this world extremely sad. I hate it. I fucking hate it. So my thing about, my issue is what I struggled with today was to feel completely entertained. Like I felt like nothing is entertaining me. It's like I get to the point where I seriously get tired of having to be on this fucking planet. Because the only thing that really interests me is the weird, the strange, the unusual, the supernatural. Astral project me. Please astral project me. Bilocate me. Do whatever. I need some kind of trippy experience. I cannot deal with living on this planet. I hate it. I absolutely fucking hate it. I get tired of dealing with fake people. I get tired of people who, sit there and act like they're helping me, but they still somehow want to sit here and butt fuck me. I get tired of it, you know? And please don't, think that I'm overreacting, but I get very frustrated because I am 53 years old and I've been wanting to be out of this shit since leaving the farmer's place. And it was traumatizing at the farmer's place. And then after that, it was just even more and more traumatizing. Fear, constant. And then you get this feeling that people get off on this shit. They get off on it. Okay? And I have to deal with people who are kind of loosely associated with them. You know what I mean? And it is what it is. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But what I'm looking for is somebody who can be my friend and not a double agent. You know what I mean? That's just, that's just how it is. It's sad, but it's true. You know what I mean? And I am no way comparing my popularity or who I am to Marilyn Monroe, but I do remember reading about, and God knows what they put in these like magazines and stuff. They could be exaggerating, you never know. But try to imagine this scenario, okay, to anybody, where she was talking about, or she expressed that she felt as though she was completely alone. It didn't matter how many fucking parties she was in. Didn't matter how many people that she was sitting there hanging around and shit. She felt alone because nobody really understood her. Nobody really appreciated her for who she was. You know, she was a sex symbol, and that's all they looked at her as. You know what I mean? But she was a very intelligent person, extremely intelligent. You know what I mean? She was just somebody who basically had it all. She was smart and she was intelligent. You know what I mean? But obviously she was a commodity to somebody. Somebody felt like, she wasn't being, they didn't treat her well or whatever. She just had a hard life. She was also an orphan, really. But, the thing is that, people always think that people have such great lives, and I'm thinking, I don't feel that way about my life. I don't. I mean, I feel like I have so many skills, so many things that I want to do, and I'm constantly being, blocked or prevented. The people wanted to basically like wipe me off the face of the earth and hide my identity. Like I'm not supposed to step out into the world or something. You know what I mean? The paranormal is on the earth, okay? I think that was their whole thing. They were concerned about, but see, what I could do in my past life, like fly, I am not able to do in this life. You know what I mean? Or I have loose, like, like I have astral experiences, okay? And most of those are spontaneous. But, whatever the case is, it's like, when I think about the issue of cloning, the pros is, you have a superior person. Like, you have a person who has superior traits, superior intellectual abilities, superior whatever. They can apply themselves and they have multiple different skills, okay? Some people don't understand that they probably acquired from many lifetimes. You know what I mean? Like you might have some sort of idea when it comes to revolutionary science, okay? You might come up with some sort of brilliant idea, okay? On the other hand, you might be somebody who has the ability to write music, which is something that is like, okay, you have an analytical skill and you have a musical skill. People say those things can't exist. It can in a superior person. They exist quite well in harmony together, these particular traits. But I live in a world where it's like, well, you got to be one or the other. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's frustrating. You know what I mean? So for a clone to exist among a society that has, and please, this is not me being arrogant. We know it's true. This is why I got targeted in the first place. Okay? It's like, God, it's constant suffering. Constant. But there are certain things that keep me going because I feel like I have to live out certain parts of my life, of this life. And that's what's keeping me going. I honestly don't have anything that's keeping me going other than that. I don't have anything that's keeping me going. Okay. All of it to me, I mean, to me, I'm sorry, and I try really hard. Please, it is what it is. I'm just going to come out and say it. The people on the pyramid, to have to be associated with that in any way is a downer. It's like a dark cloud that just hangs over my head. When I came to that realization, it just literally, my mind just shattered. Okay? Because whether these rumors are true or accurate or whatever, it doesn't matter. I am not somebody who wants to have any sort of issues with authority. I do everything I can to just like literally mind my own business, come in my home, do my stuff. I'm a homebody. I don't want any issues. You know what I mean? I don't want anybody to kind of squash my life or expect me to pick up the role that I had in my 1800 life. You know what I mean? Because obviously most people look at that. I've seen people like write blogs on this story, okay? And people pretty much come to the same conclusion. It was a pretty fucked up issue. You know what I mean? People call it what it is. It was kidnapping. Basically, however you want to call it, it was kidnapping. Okay, and then coming into this situation where I'm dealing with, the fake family, not having stability, not having a stable foundation. I mean, it was fucked from the get-go. It was fucked from, like, I would start saying, like, around first grade, where it started just, like, getting absolutely crazy. Luckily, Joseph Mengele got his little jabs in at that time before he died, I'm sure. He did his little, like, propaganda campaign against me or whatever, and it probably worked, and this is how it spread, okay? But whatever. Um, it's a nightmare. It's a fucking nightmare. You know what I mean? It's like, my good memories dwindle day by day. They dwindle day by fucking day. Like, I don't want to remember my family because they fucked me over. Okay? I'm sad to know that this particular celebrity is my mother because she fucked me over. Okay? That goes with her, along with her children and all this other shit. Okay? And then when it comes to, like, this tribe, this soul tribe I have, I don't want to have negative memories of any of these people. You know what I mean? I have to try to keep something in my life to be positive. And because most of it isn't. Most of it is just like, seriously, I wish, there was some way that I could forget all of this. And no, I would not sit here and suggest a lobotomy or anything like this. But literally, I am not happy with any of it at all. It's too much. It's like a fucking depressing thing all the time. You know, always feeling like, I have to be protective of myself. I'm always scared. Nobody sees it from my end. Nobody sees what I have to go through. But just because somebody has superior traits doesn't mean that they don't suffer. People think that, you could take jabs at people because they might perceive them as better than they are or whatever. So they do this nya 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 type bullshit behind their back, or like to be facetious, they'll do it right in front of you sometime, right? And it's worthy of them getting their fucking ass kicked, but you show restraint or whatever. But at the same time, it's like they know deep down inside that even their mother told them when they were little, you don't behave that way. You know what I mean? To be here is horrible. It is absolutely horrible. I would say, and it just gets like, to me, it just gets, darker and darker in terms of me feeling happy about, socializing. You know, you don't see it. Try to see it from my point of view. I really don't like having to be in any sort of program. Um, the person that I wanted to reach out to, I haven't reached out to anybody, and I really am really trying to pick myself back up. Okay, I do want to reach out to this person who is a clone. I've been thinking about her for a while, but like I said, I am not in the mood to talk. Um, to people. You know what I mean? I feel like, things have to get better before I do anything. And I'm just always in this stagnation period of frustration, anger, bitterness, being pissed off, being tired, being drained, being, irritable. I'm irritable every day. I'm irritable every fucking day. Sitting here on my bed, not seeing any point to anything. Just really, I really just, I fucking just, at some point, I'm just gonna say, I fucking hate it. Like, I fucking hate dealing with this shit. I hate it. But yeah, I do want to catch up with her. I know that she does think about me. She's kind of waking up from it all. I would love to meet with her sometime and talk. But like I said, I'm hoping that things get better first. And I would like very much to get out of here and settle down somewhere. Meaning you just like stay in one spot for year after year after year till I die, basically. I did have some ideas, so maybe it would be great if I could get an RV or something and travel or what a little bit before I end up leaving. I just want to be able to enjoy the time that I do have here in a positive way instead of dealing with the nightmare that I've dealt with, all my life. I wouldn't wish it on anybody, and I think it's a bad thing. I'm not somebody who's like pro clone. Okay, I'm not pro it. I'm not like supportive of the idea. I understand, that there could be some benefits, like if there was like a little, what do you call it, like a little society of clones, right? That were not meant to be pit against each other, okay? It would probably be kind of cool, you know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that there wouldn't be any disagreements or anything like that. It's just life on Earth is just basically what I said. It's hell. There's always some sort of conflict going on. There's always some sort of issue. You know, if it's not a racial issue, like I said, people had the choice. They would sit there and like, bully each other over eyeball color. They would do all kinds of stupid shit. People just fucking bitch and bicker over whatever. You know what I mean? But I think the whole issue is like, there was some sort of like nanny billy goat type bullshit going on with the people on top of the pyramid because they come from a different bloodline than I do. Okay, and I think what it was is like obviously I come from a royal bloodline, but I don't have an empire to show for it. I live like pretty much everyone else, meaning I have to pay rent, I deal with issues of unemployment, I deal with all this other shit. I do know that, based on those stories, that the prince basically got his fortune stolen from these particular people, meaning that he did not get to serve his position as a prince. I personally, when I think of the royal lifestyle, it doesn't appeal to me. Now, believe me, I am grateful to be, related to the emperor and the empress and everything like that. But what royal life is to me is one of duty. Okay, duty and of self-sacrifice. Okay, which is something that I don't believe is a good thing for for me. Okay, I don't. It's not something that I support. Okay, and therefore royal life would not be something that I would really admire or want. You know what I mean? But I suppose in some ways that would have been my role, or was probably expected of me at some point in my past life. But like I said, I don't like authority figures and shit like that. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't like them. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, there's certain people in the public eye that I think, okay, they're pretty cool. Like Biden is cool and whatever. But it's like, would I want to be one myself? Or somebody like who has this sort of position where like people like listen to them and stuff. Yes and no. Like obviously I do YouTube videos and I do talk about some of my life experiences and my views on them based on my life experience. Okay, that's fine. But as far as like taking a political role or something, no, no. I think I've always had an aversion to that, and maybe it could be the reason why I have an aversion to it is because maybe I realized that losing my father, because apparently I don't know if the the emperor, in this particular issue of Prince Alamehu's father, who took his own life, Was he there? Did he witness it? But he probably understood what happened after it happened, whether he saw it or not. You know, he probably understood that his father, in the position that he was, you know, took his life because he was in charge of something, and you know, it was a very powerful position, and maybe that's why I feel the way that I do. I've never wanted royal life. I mean, I like the superiority of traits, like, you know, being able to be wise, being able to make good decisions, being able to have occult power. That's cool, you know. But um, as far as the, and I don't know, maybe Ethiopian royalty isn't so, you know, sticky, don't wear this color nail polish out in public or whatever, you know, because I know that, you know, when I think of royalty, I start thinking about the standards or that I've read. And then, like I said, what you read in magazines could be bullshit. I don't know. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But, you know, I believe in freedom. You know what I mean? And I believe in self-expression, and I believe that that's an important part in human development. Okay, I don't believe suppressing anything is good. Now, I understand there's certain things that people have, like certain urges, certain desires that they have, that might not be too good if they enacted it on out in society. But you know, that's what those private group chats and shit are for. You know, if they want to find that sort of stuff, then you know it's out there for them if that's what they want to do. Okay, but they don't have to involve the rest of humanity to go out and do it. You know what I mean? And of course, if there's mutual adults who want to consent to do those sort of things, and it's not against the law, you know, hey, go ahead, have at it. You know what I mean? But you know, I'm just not, you know, somebody who I believe that our personal happiness is what we should seek in life. Okay. Um, Meaning, you know, I understand, like, for example, I have a son, okay? And, you know, I never put any expectations on my son other than that I expected him to be able to, of course, learn, okay? Have skills, you know, but also I did want him to have morals, but most of all, I wanted him to be able to pursue what it is he wanted to do because that's how much I value freedom, because I understand what it's like when something has completely like torn your heart apart to where, you know, you no longer want to live, or the life that you're living is not even really worth living. So I've always had that sort of feeling, and so I always wanted my son to do the things that he wanted to do. Now, there are some families where they have, you know, what they call responsibility, and this is what I don't like about that royal setup. And it's fine, you know, if they like that sort of thing, that's, you know, they're good. They feel like they're contributing to some sort of cause, some sort of like, you know, legacy or whatever, you know, that's fine. But, you know, that wasn't that's not how shit ended up happening for me, and it's never really appealed to me because, like I said, I'm too filled with the idea of believing in self-expression, believing in individualism. Okay, that's something that I believe in 100%. And it's based on me observing other people several times. You know what I mean? In different situations, in different groups of people, and seeing the same result and understanding, okay, something is wrong with that path. I'm going to take another. That's my choice. You know, and nobody likes it when you kind of step off and say, hey, you know, this is what I want. This is what I want to believe in. But it is what it is, you know. So anyway, the other thing is like I know that that there was a lot of attempts to, like, you know, never give me credit for things that I do. It's unfortunate because, you know, um, I've never put up a fight. Like I've never, what I mean by that is, okay, obviously by expressing my videos, that kind of is, okay. But I've never put up a fight against anybody's religion. I've never put up a fight on racial issues. I didn't start this fight, okay? Um, I didn't start the creation process. You know what I mean? Um, you know, if I was able to see what this would have ended up like, I would have not agreed to come to Earth. Because when I think about it, I came to Earth to be with my father, okay? And when I think about the timeline that I got to spend with my father before they came and fucked his shit up, okay, it really wasn't worth it. Don't get me wrong, he was a beautiful man, and I'm so grateful that I got to spend time with him, okay? But the time was very short. You know, apparently I came to the Gordons like at 3 years old. He started losing his mind when I was about 14 or so. So I had about 11 good years with my father, and then it all went to hell. You know, I could have really used his advice and his help as an adult, you know, but he really wasn't there for like the important times in my life. By that time, I was basically getting like my ass dragged in the mud by these people who were just as like evil towards my father coming at me, you know. Jeez. You know, you know, I'm just basically saying, you know, I'm tired of that. I'm tired of like, you know, being hidden or people not like, you know, allowing or supporting this. I don't support this. I don't support what happened to me. I don't support, like, condone, or think it's cool, or even want to even say that I accept it, or even, you know, I don't want it in any way. Like, I don't want to have a relationship with these people on the pyramid. I don't. You know what I mean? This is my life, and this is what I value, and I don't want something that horrible from that past time in this time. Okay, regardless of, I understand like the other two people on the pyramid, the boys or whatever, they might be cool with me and everything else, and okay, and that's fine. Okay, but like, let's leave it at that. I don't need like, I don't want the manipulation. I don't want like, you know, I you know, I need like real people in my life. Okay, basically what I'm saying. Anyway, I do know that there's a lot of people who really think that the whole thing of the Prince Alamehu thing should be out in the public. There are some, like I said, that Marshall. I keep thinking last name Marshall. He did videos on YouTube. Oh, where's my drink? On YouTube, he was a clone. Um, of course, like I said, we're talking about like major networks and stuff like that talking about this issue. Thing is, I don't think it will ever be released to the public, because then you'd have to sit here and start digging and answering questions and blah 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 blah, and they're going to ask you, how did you discover this, and then you have to go down a rabbit hole and start talking about things that people would rather not me regurgitate. You know what I mean? At the same time, people know that I'm a clone. They already know. It doesn't. I don't really think it needs to be blown up that big. But I do think if it did, like I said, it would provide a lot of healing. Okay, mainly healing to me, which, you know, to expect people to accommodate your emotional needs when you're dealing with narcissism is a little bit unrealistic, right? They don't give a fuck, so therefore Maria suffers. Anyway, so I think the other issue, or the thought that came to my mind, was that one of my old bosses is humiliated and fears that that their hypocrisy will be exposed. Well, you know what? You're not the only one. You know what I mean? Everybody knows that if I worked at your place of employment, then you were probably a perp, a Nazi sympathizer, or something along those lines. Okay, you know, like I said, I never asked for any of this. If you feel, you know, any sort of humiliation, then you basically got what you deserved. That's not my fucking problem, and don't expect me to have any fucking sympathy for you. And it really is that simple. You know, you can't expect to think that you can have a clean conscience or feel as though you should be looked at as a decent person when you are basically participating in something that is dealing with something very serious. You know what I mean? And there's no way in the world you could have known that you didn't, or you didn't do what you were doing. So I don't really give a shit. Anyway, so I'm going to wrap up this video. And I will be back with another video sometime later. You know, it's not me trying to... I have every right to express my feeling on this issue, because, like I said, they put you in isolation. They put you in situations of frustration. You can't really express what's going on in your life, you know, out in the open. They control their ability to, or they fudge the numbers, or they whatever. You know what I mean? It is very tiring. You know what I mean? And it's a psychological illness that can get instilled into an individual when they are dealing with targeting. It's psychologically damaging. And then when you have to deal with perps, you know, reinforcing the trauma and knowing that that's the only group of people that you're ever going to fucking ever have to deal with, it gets a little sad sometimes. So I'm going to wrap up this video, and I will be back with another video sometime later. Have a good night. Bye-bye.